What's up? Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Game week once again. Bye week is over. Vacation in Chicago over. Shout out to everybody I met up with. We'll show some photos and a video later on. But it's time to get back on that horse as the Bears are on to Washington to take on Jayden Daniels, maybe, and the Washington Commanders. We'll have an injury update on Jayden on this show as well. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from, and we'll get some shout outs going. JD ducking. I don't think JD's ducking, but we'll see what happens there. What's up, Terry? What's going on, man? He's in Des Moines, Iowa. We got JD in Tampa, Schefter in Milwaukee, Steven in Punta Gorda, Florida. Ben Moore in Las Vegas, Kirk in Dallas, Texas, baby. What's up, Kirk? Denny in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Thomas in Anthem, Arizona, Foxtrot in Houston, Jordan, Minnesota from Santana, Diane in Mendota. We got Olis in Merrillville, the Bears in Chicago. We got San Jose, California from Eduardo, Donald in Chicago, HCW in Nebraska, Jim in Norwood Park, Bill Carson in Clive, Iowa, Ross Morgan in Bloomington. You guys are all over the place. LaCora in Wrigleyville, great spot. Austin, you're the best. What's up, Austin? Appreciate you. Dallas, Iowa from Isaiah. We got Danny in Forsyth, James in Austin, Texas. So shout out to the real ones for hanging out. We appreciate you tuning in. And Cullen, we're back in the fold, back live on Bears Now. Big matchup on Sunday between the Bears and the Commanders.
Yeah, I during my bye week at least, I successfully sabotaged the Vikings' perfect season.
Well done. Well done.
But yeah, man, we were back at it after the bye week. Hopefully the Bears. I mean, based on the initial kind of injury things we've been hearing out of Hallis Hall. The Bears have gotten healthier. There's still a couple question marks there, but ultimately they're in better position, I think, today compared to the Commanders with one big name. Obviously, we got to mention.
Yeah, we're going to talk Jayden Daniels. And by the way, that spread is up to Bears -3. Does Vegas that spread before yesterday, like the future line was Commanders 2.5.
Yeah.
So it has shifted 5.5 points.
Yeah.
I wonder if Vegas thinks Daniels is missing this game.
There's a legitimate shot. I mean, we'll go over the quotes and everything today that came out of Washington. But, yeah, I mean, that's a rib injury to a very frail athlete. And, again, I'm not trying to take a shot. That's just the reality of kind of how he's built.
Nice. He's wiry. He's thin. Yeah. No doubt.
So, I mean, it's definitely a concern that he could potentially play today. And when you're going up, and, again, not trying to hype us up too much, but a defense that's been one of the better ones in the NFL and one that likes to hit and likes to hit the ball carrier especially. I mean, that's something that if you're a Commanders fan, you got to be wary of.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Is Daniels mate Glassman Jenkins? I wouldn't go that far. I mean, he's a tough player who didn't get injured a lot in college. The problem is he just has taken a lot of unnecessary hits in his football career, and those are going to add up over time. And now playing in the NFL, it's a little bit of a different animal. Graham thinks Chicago's going to win. So does Prometheus, the Bears, Daniel, Allis, Chi-Town, S-Ray. Brock Sports going with Washington, but he says it'll be close. Nate says Daddy. Not sure who Daddy is. Another Josh says Chicago. Iba says Chicago. We'll see, man. We'll see. Chicago repeats last year, 40-plus points. That'd be nice. DJ Moore went for 8 catches, 230 yards, and 3 touchdowns against the Commies last year, so we'll see if he can have another career day in this one. All right, if you want to get in on the fun, get in on the action, there's no better place to do it than with our sponsor, Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you just play for $5 initially. Just launch an entry into the atmosphere, kind of like this one, little Monday night football special. I love the Goblin play, which are easier to hit, but Derrick Henry to find the end zone. He's been a touchdown machine. And then I like J.K. Dobbins more than 80.5 rushing yards against the suspect Cardinals defense. He's been running well this year. 5 to win, just less than 15 there. But again, if you're a new customer and use our link and promo code sign up, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Whether you hit or not, as long as you play for at least $5, PrizePicks is going to give you an additional $50 to play with. So get your feet wet, dip your toes in the deep end, and start firing away with PrizePicks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with as few as 4 correct picks currently. Available in 30-plus states. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. Get you that bonus of $50 once you play for just $5. Okay, name a player that you want the Bears to trade for. Cullen, we're 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. Those rumors, that speculation's only going to increase. And I think it's really going to ramp up depending on the results of these next 2 games for the Bears. If they at least split or hell win the next 2, I mean, before 2 Tuesdays from now, you got to think Ryan Poles is going to be on the phone taking calls, exploring some opportunities out there.
Yeah, I believe it. And, I mean, this is very key in how you phrase it. Name a player you want the Bears to trade for. Because I want Max Crosby. Do I think it's likely? Probably not. But
I do think I do want this on the record.
Yep.
I do think the Raiders should trade him. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, definitely among Raiders fans and even among casual NFL fans. To me, they're multiple years away. By the time you're good, you're going to have to pay him an even bigger contract. Like, to me, if I'm Vegas, I'm trading him. Like, if I could get a 1 and a 2 or 2 1s, like, that seems like a no-brainer. Go draft a quarterback, reset. Now, whether or not Vegas does that remains to be seen. But, yeah, obviously I'd like to see the Bears be in on Max Crosby. He's a phenomenal player. He's a culture guy. You can, envision him in Chicago. Yeah. Like, just a badass, hardworking, bring your lunch pail to work type of guy. Like, that's who he is as a player, and that fits the mold of what Chicago is historically on defense. So I'd love to see it. I'm with you. I don't think it's likely, but I do think the Raiders should heavily entertain trading him.
I agree. Realistic name I'll just throw out there, Dalvin Tomlinson.
Yeah. I think either of the Browns' defensive tackles, Shelby Harris or Dalvin Tomlinson, I'd be in on either of those guys. Both those guys feel like a perfect number 3 defensive tackle to really increase that rotation with Dexter and Billings. Ideally, you get Pickens back, then you got your 4 guys there. So, yeah, I'm with you. Either of those Browns guys at defensive tackle, I would certainly be in on. We'll see what happens. Bears goated with the super chat says Texans couldn't just do us one favor. SMH. Yeah, the NFC North, Cullen, continues to be a wagon. Packers beat the Texans. Obviously, the Lions and Vikings play each other, but it was a classic. I mean, it was 31-29. I mean, all 4 teams. It's kind of crazy. Through week 7, we're not almost halfway, but we're 35% of the way, 40% through the season. All 4 teams as of now would be in the playoffs. I'm guessing in this new system where technically a full division can make the playoffs, this is the latest into a season that they would be in the playoffs at that point in time, if that makes sense.
No, for sure.
Whether or not that can hold up,
exactly.
They're going to play each other a bunch. That seems unlikely, but I'll say this. I'd be shocked if at least 3 didn't make it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the harsh reality of the NFL because legitimately, I mean, you can't tell me that there's 7 teams better than one of these teams in the NFC North, in the NFC. Like, you think of the top cream of the crop of the NFC, right? Obviously, the NFC North, that's a given. You think of, I mean, I don't love what the Niners are showing right now.
No.
I don't love really anybody in the NFC West. The Rams are hurt.
Seattle's very up and down. They're good, looks awesome, but it's very week to week with them.
It's very inconsistent.
The South, I do think Tampa and Atlanta are good teams, but the other 2 are terrible.
But again, Atlanta just got crushed by Seattle yesterday.
Yeah, true.
And then Tampa, I mean, we'll see what happens against the Ravens
Good test tonight.
The Eagles, I mean, can we really take how much from beating Saquon Barkley-less Giants team,
Washington's obviously been solid, but they kind of like the Bears, they haven't been played murderer's row yet. So I think that's why I feel like this Bears-Commanders game is kind of which one of these 2 teams is actually like a real team, like a real contender. I'm not saying the loser of this game is completely fraudulent and their season's over, but it does feel like the winner, you could leapfrog that team into the conversation. Whereas the loser, it's like, okay, you're in the mix, but you're not. You're a tier below these other teams.
Exactly. And I mean, it's, we'll see what the Commander, and again, Jayden's health obviously is a big part of that. But
sure. If he's out, even
if you're a self-deprecating Bears fan and you want to say you're the 4th best team in the NFC North, you find me 4 other teams in the NFC that you can legitimately say are better than the Bears today.
Yeah, like I think your Niners thing was perfect. Like, sure, I think San Francisco has a better roster, but it's all about what's happening right now. They're losing games they shouldn't. Brock Purdy's been hit and miss. They have some key injuries. Like, the reality is, at this exact second, you could make an argument that the Bears are playing better football than San Francisco. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Adam Downing with the 10. Shout out, Adam. Our first super chat on 4 verts, by the way, was from Adam. Shout out to Adam. He says, what about this? O-line improving, receivers ascending, defense cooking. 7th seed seems very well, may be the best this year. Why not keep all picks and further build the team for cheap? Look, I mean, that's certainly valid. I don't think you have to force the issue if you're Ryan Poles. But I think, for example, as crazy as a Max Crosby thing sounds, because you're going to have to give up a lot, it's not like it's an all-in for this year move. It does help you a lot this year, and it makes you closer this year, but he's under contract for multiple years. He's 27 years old. Like, this is a guy you can build with as well. Like, you bring him in here, him and Montez Sweat, like, you don't really even have to put any assets into defensive end because Austin Booker's on a rookie contract. He's just going to rotate for the next 3 years. DeMarcus Walker has 1 more year on his deal. If Taylor wants to come back for cheap, cool. If not, you could sign another cheap guy to be your 4th defensive end. Like, you'd be completely set at that position for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's the benefit of having Caleb Williams on a rookie contract.
Because you can be more aggressive.
Exactly. And I think, one comparison that I made, before the season started is the Houston Texans, right? C.J. Stroud hit that first year. You knew as your franchise guy, you're able to spend out in free agency.
They go get Diggs. They go get Danielle Hunter.
Exactly. So, I mean, again, you don't have to follow that exact same formula, but the principle's still the same, right? You have a young guy, young quarterback, future that you believe can be one of the best in the league. Go out and spend and make the team around him as best as possible.
Exactly. Isaiah Bluebaugh, what about Myles Garrett? I mean, I'd be in. The problem with him compared to Crosby is the dead cap hit for Cleveland is pretty significant, even if they trade him. It was kind of like the Amari Cooper deal. They keep pushing money down the road because of the Deshaun Watson disaster. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't mean they won't trade him. It just means you're going to have to overpay in draft comp because the Browns have to eat a lot of dead cap money. So he might cost more than Crosby, and he's 2 years older than Crosby. So I'm not out on Garrett. I would love to have him, but he is 29. You're going to have to pay potentially 2 ones. Like, not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying it's a different dynamic there. Like, just in terms of the team you're dealing with. Like, I think Cleveland, if they start trading off parts, like if they consider trading Garrett, it's got to be a massive trade. Like one where they're like, okay, we're completely resetting here. You're going to have to give us the house to get off of this guy because he's easily their best player.
100%.
It's not even close.
And there's no reason. I mean, again, yes, the Deshaun Watson situation is not great in Cleveland. They don't have to get rid of, Myles Garrett. There's other players that they can kind of part with and still,
Zadarius Smith,
fickle their way around the cap, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, we've already named 2 of these guys. So we've named Garrett, we've named Crosby. Dexter Lawrence, another guy. Like, there are so many great players that if you're Chicago, you kind of have to ask yourself as a fan, what is the price that you're willing to go up to?
Yeah.
Because, again, who wouldn't want to have Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, or Dexter Lawrence, any of these guys on your team? It's just a matter of how much are you willing to pay.
And to your guys' point about the future, with any of these moves, you're only going to swing big thinking of, like, 2-3 year chunks. Like, I don't think you're paying a big price for anybody that's a rental. So, like, if you're bringing in Shelby Harris, you're talking like a 6th or a 7th round pick. Like that's what you're talking about. If you're swinging big on one of these guys, they're under contract for multiple years, and you believe they can help you not only this year but at least for 2 more years. I mean, that's the reality of that. So we'll see. 15 days until the trade deadline. All right, if you love the Bears, hit that like button. Appreciate all the super chats. We will have a mailbag segment coming up, so if you want to get in on that, you can super chat or use #Bears. In the meantime, hit that like button. Let's cross 100 likes. We got 57 likes, over 400 people watching. Go ahead and like this video. And here's what we got coming up here on Chicago Bears Now live on YouTube. The latest news and injury updates from Hallis Hall and on Jayden Daniels, so stay tuned for that. We will take your questions, #Bears or Super Chat, to get those answered here on the show. and a little bit different of a look at some Bears trade targets. I'm going to kind of identify 5 teams that I think are clearly in seller mode and take a look at some players from those teams that I would at least have some interest in. So stay tuned for all of that coming up here. Busy show. Happy Monday. Let's dive into Chicago Bears now. We kick off today's episode of Chicago Bears Now with a Jayden Daniels injury update. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome in. Thanks for watching. Adam Schefter, kind of out of nowhere, hopped on Pat McAfee's show and basically said, yep, the Commanders aren't really sure the severity of his injury at this point in time. Jordan Schultz had reported earlier that he's going to have further testing. We'll get you caught up on all of that here in just a moment. But first, Jack Sperry, the host of the Commanders Report, he got up in my grill today and said, yeah, we're going to beat your ass on the field and in new subscribers this week. I said, yeah, I don't think you know who you're dealing with when it comes to Bears Now in the Chicago Bears fan base. So prove him wrong. Hit that subscribe button. Let's decimate the Commanders Report and new subs this week. And our next milestone, 106,000? 106,000. Let's make it happen, and let's take down Washington. Okay, Adam Schefter on Jayden Daniels. He said they don't know yet if he'll be able to go on Sunday. I don't think it's severe, but they don't know if he's going to be able to play this week yet. I think it's up in the air right now. And that's not exactly a he's fine type of report. Now, Schefter, it's certainly kind of an incomplete, vague report, right? Like, basically, it sounds like, yeah, we're waiting and seeing how this feels, how it heals. And if you remember a couple of years ago with Justin Fields, remember he left the game with ribs and, the initial, I want to say the initial thing was tests came back negative, but then like the week went on and a few days later, it's like, actually, he's got cracked ribs. I wonder if a similar situation could happen here where you sleep on it, you wake up, there's more pain, you do further testing. It's like, actually, he's got cracked ribs, or actually, there's a severe bruising there. Because it's like anything else in football, when you take a major hit, suffer an injury, the day of, you're not going to feel it as much as you are the day after or even the day after that. Like NFL players talk about all the time, waking up Tuesday morning after playing on Sunday is like the hardest day. And that's why that's the day off for NFL players. They don't go into the facility typically on Tuesday. So I think this is worth monitoring. And Schultz had the report this morning, which we talked about on our preview, saying that further tests are coming in the coming days, which will provide more clarity. Again, the initial tests were negative, but things can change with, swelling, further bruising, etc. And this is obviously a big deal because for a couple reasons. One, just from a entertainment standpoint, I want to watch Caleb Williams play Jayden Daniels. Obviously, it's Caleb versus the Commanders defense, Jayden versus the Bears defense. But from a headline perspective, we want to see the top 2 picks play. But from a competitive on the field perspective, without Jayden Daniels, that's obviously a big loss for Washington. Now, Marcus Mariota came in and played pretty damn well, albeit Carolina's terrible. The Bears defense is a totally different animal. Preparing as the starter in a high-leverage game is a totally different deal than stepping in and playing against a bad team. But he did look pretty solid. Cliff Kingsbury did a nice job with him. But let's face it, if Jayden's out, that's a drop-off. And that is advantage Bears if that ends up being the case. So I hope it's not. I want to see these two guys play against each other this Sunday. It feels like the winner of this game could really kind of launch their season into a new orbit, if you will, and hopefully both teams are at full strength as we get to it. We'll get to some of the Bears injury notes here in a moment, but first, pen comment on today's show. Will Jayden Daniels play on Sunday against the Bears? Type P for play or W for won't. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, so reply with a P for play or W for won't. On the Bears injury front, let's start with Jaquan Brisker. Matt Eberflus told reporters today that Brisker has a couple more steps to clear in the concussion protocol. Quick math, this is day 8 since he suffered the concussion. But remember, he didn't self-report until last Monday, so it's really been a week since he's been in the protocol. And when you're I don't want to use the phrase repeat offender, but when you've had multiple concussions, typically it takes longer to clear those steps and return, and I think this is number 3 for Brisker in the NFL. Sunday feels like 50-50. I would say that he has a decent chance of playing. I think Wednesday will be telling. Like, does he practice? Is he cleared by then? If not, getting cleared by Friday, Saturday seems, like a longer shot at that point. So, right now I'll put it in that 50-50 realm. I would expect him to for sure be back next week, but certainly you'd like to have him out there. I mean, Washington's passing attack has been potent. Daniels can run around, and Brisker might be someone who's tasked with spying him from time to time. And we talked about it in our preview. If you have the chance to hit Jayden, hit him hard, and Brisker's someone who can do that. So we'll see if he's able to go. Hopefully he is. He provides an emotional lift. I will say this. I thought Elijah Hicks played pretty well in his absence. He graded out well per PFF, so I think the Bears at least feel okay if they have to trot him out for another game. Kyler Gordon, the latest on him. Eberflus said he did not participate in the walkthrough this morning. He's still working through a hamstring injury that he suffered against Jacksonville. That's a little tricky. Hopefully he can play, but if he didn't go through the walkthrough today, that doesn't give me great confidence. I would say it's less than 50-50 that he plays in this game on Sunday. And just looking at the corner group, the good news is it's one of the deepest units in the NFL. We'll see on Terrell Smith's status if he was able to return. But I thought Josh Blackwell played really well in Gordon's absence in that second half. Had an interception off of Trevor Lawrence, so he can hold it down. Again, you don't want to go with backups for extended stretches, but if it's one of those things where it's one more, two more games, I don't think it's the end of the world. But again, you don't want to be down 2 or 3 starters in your secondary against a Commanders offense that is clearly going to pose more problems than Carolina or Jacksonville did the last couple of weeks. All right. Speaking of the walkthrough, positive signs here. Scott Daly, who I assumed his season was done. Apparently he's okay. I don't know if he's full throttle yet, but looks like he's going to be okay. They did sign Jake McQuaid to the practice squad, a backup long snapper, so he's available if Daly can't go. Tyreek Stevenson was in the walkthrough as well. Remember, he tweaked his calf in London on Thursday before the game and did not play on Sunday. Kind of felt precautionary, which was probably the right move, and seems like he's going to be okay now. So if Tyreek and one of Gordon or Brisker can play, well, then you got 4/5 of your secondary. I'd be pretty – if I could sign up for that right now, I probably would. One of those two other guys playing along with Tyreek, because then you got Jalen and obviously Kevin Byard back there as well. All right, more to discuss in just a moment, but today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. And listen, football is full throttle right now. We got some exciting games tonight. I've got an entry for tonight, so stay tuned for that. We'll get to it in a second. But let's tell you first about what Prize Picks is. It's daily fantasy made easy. Football, basketball, baseball, other sports. You can set your lineups with at least 2 players, up to 6, and you just choose more or less based on the stat projections that Prize Picks provide. For example, passing yards, 3-pointers made, strikeouts, etc. Think of any stat in pretty much any sport. It's available for you to put into your Prize Picks entry. And I got a little Monday Night Football action here. Derrick Henry just needs to find the end zone, a little goblin pick, easier to hit there. He's been a touchdown machine. And then J.K. Dobbins, I like the more on 80.5 rushing yards. He's been fantastic for the Chargers this year. 5 to win just under 15. But the best part about Prize Picks right now, if you're a new customer, create an account right now, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. You're going to get a $50 deposit straight into your account. Little bonus action once you play for $5. Just got to play for $5 after you use our promo code, and you're going to be good to go. So sign up today. Use the promo code. Get play for $5, and you're going to get $50 deposited straight into your account. Okay, a little more injury news. Ryan Bates getting closer, according to Matt Eberflus, to opening his practice window. So does that mean he's getting closer to actually playing? We'll see. I certainly don't expect that he will be available this week, but maybe by like New England in 2 weeks, he could be an option. And certainly going to be interesting with the trade deadline coming up. We'll get to Nate Davis in a second, but obviously Matt Pryor's been holding it down at right guard. Tevin Jenkins played pretty well the last time out at left guard. Coleman Shelton's played better the last couple weeks at center, so if he continues to stat good games, I don't think they would mess with that either. But the significance could be of Ryan Bates returning is if they feel good about him getting back and at least being a depth piece, I would imagine the Bears would be looking to do anything they could to unload Nate Davis. who Ian Rappaport over the weekend reported that Davis and Khalil Herbert were generating trade interest on the open market. I kind of speculated, is this more from the Bears standpoint, leaking that out, at least with Davis, just because he's not in their plans anymore? I'll say this, Matt Eberflus was asked about the Davis trade report. Didn't exactly shut it down. He said, I'm not going to talk about specific guys, but he did say, you're always going to have guys in conversations about trade talks. It's just part of the business. It's not exactly a dismissal, Matt. And typically Eberflus, like that's the type of question he would just completely not even entertain. Just be like, yeah, we're going to keep that in-house. The fact that he was like, yeah, guys get brought up in trade talks. Ryan's working the phones. It's like, yeah, I think they would take just about anything to trade Nate Davis. And with Ryan Bates coming back soon and providing some depth, kind of makes that decision easier if that ends up being the case. So we'll see if a team is willing to bite. I would imagine the Bears would have to take on some money for the remainder of this year to do so. But if you can do it, get them off your books for next year. That would be well worth it. All right, will Nate Davis get traded? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. I hope he does. Got nothing against him personally. He's not part of this team anymore. So it is what it is. I thought Cole Kmet said something pretty interesting earlier. Wanted to dive into this before we get out of this segment. He was essentially asked, like, hey, there's been flashes in the past with you here with the Bears offense. Is there something you can point to that you believe could be a reason of this being sustainable this time around? Like, an example would be 2 years ago. Justin Fields, that month-long stretch where they averaged over 30 points per game. He was running wild. Then defenses adjusted, and the Bears didn't have a counter adjustment. Here's what Kmet said. He said, for me, it's hard to not say the quarterback. The quarterback is really good and super talented. Those are things you can really look at to rely upon from week to week. Whether it's the intermediate or short passing game, I think Caleb has done a really good job with that. And I don't think this is a shot at the other quarterbacks he's played with. Fields, Trubisky, Foles. He's played with quite a few now, Cole Kmet, despite being just year 5 of his career. But I think he's basically saying, like, yeah, I feel much better about Caleb than I have felt about anyone else I've played with. And why wouldn't he? Because in 6 games with Caleb Williams, and especially the last 3 or 4 in particular, he looks like a quarterback that the Bears, quite frankly, have never had. Someone who throws with accuracy, someone who throws with anticipation, someone who is confident as hell. Like Caleb Williams, you could argue this 3.5 game stretch since the second half of the Colts game is the best quarterback play we have seen for even just this amount of time since Jay Cutler. Probably better than that, considering the consistency and accuracy. The point is the Bears believe in Caleb. That the confidence in him is clear. And, yeah, if they're going to sustain success here, it's because they have the right guy in number 18. So that's pretty exciting to think about, and I just wanted to kind of react to that because I thought that was pretty strong from Cole in a kind of mild-mannered way, the way he said it. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to not bring up the quarterback because he's really fucking good is basically what he said. So, all right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Those are the latest news, injury updates for you guys. My name is Harrison Graham. More to come here on Bears Now. All right, we got a little mailbag coming up. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions answered on the show. Yeah, definitely not Prometheus. Just more of like, Cutler would go on little heaters, right? Where for 6 weeks he would look like a top 5, top 8 guy. Didn't last, but
yeah, I really admire Kmet's belief in I really no one hasn't, but Kmet especially I feel like's really kind of stuck up for Caleb.
He's kind of gone out of his way to be like,
yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, Cullen, when he met him. When he was in Chicago for his top 30 draft visit, he met him and a group of the Bears leaders took him out to dinner and stuff like that, like Tremaine Edmonds and DJ and some other guys were there. And Kmet went on a show afterward and admitted, basically was like, yeah, I felt stupid for kind of reading some of the stuff that was out there about this guy because none of it's true. He's a really cool dude. We enjoyed being around him. So I think Cole has kind of gone out of his way to just be like, hey, we got this guy's back. He's our quarterback. And I think Kmet understood too, especially at the time, that there was so much friction among the fan base about the quarterback decision and all of that. But he's really gone out of his way, I feel like, to make Caleb welcome and to just kind of vocalize like, hey, this guy's really good and he's a cool dude and he's our guy.
Yeah.
I just appreciate that. And, those are all reasons why Kmet was voted a team captain this year, because he's clearly kind of assumed a leadership role on this team. So pretty cool. That's a good question, Jacob. We'll get to that in the mailbag. But before we get to our mailbag and load up your questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, we will get your questions on the show. I had a blast at Sluggers in Wrigleyville, meeting up with some of our awesome subscribers, just kind of cycling through some photos here. Hopefully you guys are watching. It was a blast meeting all of you. Cool place, by the way. Dueling piano, the guy and gal that were playing, they were fantastic. My guy, Sam Lakhtara, here on this next photo, was firing little $5 Venmo song requests all night long. He was killing it. But, yeah, it was a blast. And I got a bunch of messages from you guys as well, like, oh, man, wish I could be there. And we're going to come back. That is a promise. My wife and I love the city. Going to spend more time in Chicago when we can. And it was sick. And I appreciated everybody's kind words. I thought everybody was super nice. And I can't wait to do it again. So, and those who are wondering, I still get asked this. I feel like I've mentioned this. Chat Sports is based in Dallas. So our studios, headquarters, we're here in Dallas. So I'd like to get to Chicago more. It's hard to find time. But we're going to get out there this summer, and we're going to have a good time. I had to play this as well. Took some Malort shots with the boys. It was a blast, and I had to turn the sound down. We did a little FGB chant to start it, but there's music in the background, and we could get hit with the copyright on YouTube. But, yeah, awesome time. Thank you guys so much for meeting up. Thanks to everybody who reached out, too, like, hey, wish I could be there. It was sick, man. And we'll do it again sometime soon, for sure, in the spring or summer. And if people are ever in Dallas, if you guys would ever want to do some kind of a Dallas meetup, maybe the next time the Cowboys play the Bears here in Dallas, whenever that's going to be, we could set up something for that too. So awesome stuff. It is what it is. Joseph says, Dallas, gross, I'm out. It's where the job is, man. That's out of my control. But if you're out, that's on you, I guess. But appreciate everybody for showing love, and I hope it felt reciprocated, because that was my goal. Back to you guys. So really cool stuff. Okay, let's get to your mailbag questions. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions answered. We can start with Samuel on the mailbag here. Got a couple. We can just hit those in the mailbag if you want. We'll catch up on the Super Chats in the mailbag, and then we are going to oh, by the way, I didn't realize. So Brandon Ayuk's injury was an ACL.
Oh, you didn't see that?
MCL, and maybe additional damage.
Yeah, he's probably potentially looking at missing the start of next year.
Yeah, wow.
Like,
I mean, that thing's kind of aged pretty poorly, because he kind of held him hostage. He won, and then he came out of the gate slow, and now he has suffered a major injury. I mean, that is pretty brutal. Not only for him, but for the 49ers.
But, and again, there's two sides of the coin. This is also a reason why NFL players hold out the way they do. This is the reason that Hassan Reddick probably won't even play until, this upcoming week, because they're trying to get paid to avoid having to deal with this. So it sucks for the Niners, and obviously it sucks for Ayuk getting hurt and everything. But, we sit there and we break down this news and everything because it's the reality of, these athletes. They're trying to get as much money as they possibly can before something like this happens. And it's the fortunate beast of the NFL. So,
and that's a potentially significant, with the Niners blowing some of these games. Like, there's a real scenario where the NFC West is just a one-team playoff division. Like, the Niners could be in pretty big trouble here. I mean, I don't want to say there's a blueprint to beat them, but if you have good corners and feel comfortable playing man coverage, they are not the same team against man coverage. And now they just lost their only man beater at Ayuk. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't view them currently as like a major contender. Like, I still think they're a playoff team, probably.
Yeah.
But I don't view them as a team that can go win 3 playoff games in a row and get to a Super Bowl. Like, that could change by week 18. But right now, like, could you say that with any confidence against quality teams? They'd beat 3 of them in a row. Like, I don't see that right now.
No, yeah. And I mean, look, Seattle, they are what they are. The bare minimum is they're getting healthier. The Rams are getting healthier. They're getting Cooper Kupp back this week.
They play
The Vikings.
They play that's a massive game. I mean, if they somehow beat the Vikings, they're kind of back into the mix.
Yeah, which as a Bears fan, I mean, you're kind of hoping they do win that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You're
not concerned about the Rams because you have the head-to-head there.
And again, the Cardinals, they already beat them this year. So
so did the Rams.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, if Seattle somehow beats them the second time, which the Niners, as you know, had Seattle's number recently, but if Seattle, with Geno, if Seattle somehow won the rematch, though, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, the Niners at that point would be what, 1-3 in the division
because they're 1-2 right now.
Yeah.
So
they lost to Arizona and LA. So
yeah, I mean
they could be in big trouble, man. I mean their margin for error is starting to slip after starting 3-4. So
which is another reason why the Bears are. Look, you keep performing, you keep trying to move up in the NFC North ranks, which again, it's not like they're falling back. They're 4-2.
No.
Like they're not out of it by any means, but just keep, racking up those wins. Even if you just split your division, right, and you go 3-3.
I've said it. If I could sign up for 3-3 in the division today, I'd do it. Because then you're 7-5. You got to win 3 out of your other 5 games. I mean, I think you would take your chances in that scenario, considering your other 5 games are at Washington, at Arizona, New England at home, at San Francisco, Seattle at home. You split these next 2 road games. You beat Seattle at home and you beat New England at home. There's your 3. I mean, you got to these next 3 games at Washington, at Arizona, New England at home. You got to win 2 out of 3 minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
I'm gonna start a live poll actually.
Okay.
Where do you rank the Bears in the NFC North? And again, first, second, third, fourth, however you want to do it. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah. It's so hard to say because, I feel like I'll be able to answer that question a lot better after this next game. If they go to Washington and win, and especially if they can win, I don't want to say convincingly, but not in a fluky way. If Daniels plays, if he doesn't, grain of salt. Then I feel a lot better about where this team is.
Yeah, ignore the typo there, but roughly it's kind of split right now, 37 votes, somewhere between second and fourth.
I'll say this. The highest I could even conceivably say is second. I know Detroit lost Aiden Hutchinson, and the Bears have actually matched up well with Detroit. Mm-hmm. That offense is so dynamic. They have no weaknesses.
None.
If you protect Goff, he's terrific. They have the best offensive line in football. Play caller, terrific. Goff, terrific. Offensive line, terrific. St. Brown, good possession receiver, one of the fastest players in the NFL in J-Mo. Yep. Laporta at tight end, and 2 excellent running backs. I mean, there's
that complement each
it's
other.
It's the most complete offense. I don't know. So I think they're a better version of what the Niners have been offensively.
Yeah.
The question's going to be if you get them, I feel like Detroit home field's going to be critical because if they have to go on the road and play outdoors somewhere, I feel like that could neutralize them. But if they're indoors in that dome, they could score 35 on anybody.
Speaking as somebody who watched every minute of that game this past Sunday, they were missing their right guard, Kevin Zeitler. Still had 4 great offensive line options.
Matter.
Didn't matter. And again, the biggest...
And that's against Flores.
Flores, one of the best defensive coordinators this league has seen this year. And the thing you're supposed to do with Goff, right, is you're supposed to get him off his spot so that way he can't just sit there and pick you apart. Because he will go perfect if you let him do that. I mean, he's literally done it.
Dude, he went 18-18 against Seattle. I think at one point yesterday he was 19 of 20.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just he's not even missing passes. It's crazy.
I mean, you give him time and you give him a chance just to fire it, without any pressure or anything. It's game over for a lot of defenses.
And by the way, for those saying fourth, it's not even a bad thing. It's a very fair thing to say that they're fourth right now. But to our point, this division is just an absolute gauntlet.
Brutal.
Absolute gauntlet. All right, a lot of mailbag questions to get to. We appreciate you guys launching them in. And I have not seen this. 6 points. I have not seen what you're talking about, Ja, but I'll look into that when I can. All right, let's get started here on this mailbag episode. I'm Harrison Graham. It's time for another Bears mailbag here on Chicago Bears Now. DeFloose, could Trayvon Walker be a legitimate trade target before the deadline? He's an interesting name. I think had Jacksonville lost that game to New England, and it looked a little dicey early, they figured it out and kind of dominated. They'd be 1-6 now. I do wonder if they would just completely clean house, other than Trevor. Obviously, they just paid him. But, Trayvon Walker, look, he's not number one pick caliber. He probably never will be. But he's quietly become at least a pretty good player. 16 sacks in the last 24 games. He's got 6 this year. I don't think he's even a dominant number one pass rusher on a good defense. But you brought him in. If you were to bring him in here, he could be your number 2 opposite of Montez Sweat. You've got your interior guys. I certainly wouldn't be against it. Now, he's in his 3rd season. You'd have to consider paying him soon, and I don't think you would trade for him without considering an extension. 2nd-round pick, 3rd? What say you? Would you trade a 2nd-round pick for Trayvon Walker? It wouldn't be the Carolina pick. I would not trade that pick. Would I trade my own pick, which will probably be in the 50s? I'd consider it. I mean, he's a good player. He's not great. They shouldn't have taken him number 1 over Hutchinson, clearly, but he's pretty good. Why for yes and for no? Let me know. Dustin Hamby, who would be a better fit to pair with Sweat? Crosby, Garrett, or Walker with a later round pick? Who you taking? We just talked about Walker. I think he's a tier below the other guys. It's hard to say. Crosby and Garrett, they're both unreal. I would rather have Crosby because he's 2 years younger and he plays more snaps. But if you told me you got Myles Garrett, I wouldn't complain. I think Garrett would cost more in a trade given the contract structure that he's under in Cleveland. The way they structured it, they would eat a lot of dead money. So they would want more in a trade return than Vegas probably would for Crosby. But those are 2 of the top 5 edge rushers in the NFL. They would be better than Sweat. That's the fascinating part. I love Montez Sweat. He is not Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. So you slide him into a number 2 role, and then you got Dexter and Billings in the middle. I mean, you go from, in 13 months, a bottom 3 to 5 defensive line to, is it the best in the league? I mean, you got good depth there, too, with Taylor, Booker, etc. So, yeah, I mean, I get you don't want to just mortgage your future, but these guys would be under contract for a few years. I would have some interest if these guys were available. Samuel Lawless, if both Myles Garrett, a lot of Garrett Crosby questions, and Max became available, which one would you go for, and how much do you think each would cost us? I've mentioned Max because I think he'd cost a little less in a trade, and he's a little younger. Both would cost a lot, though, make no mistake. But both are under contract beyond this year, so you have salary cap control over them. You've got the money to absorb their contracts. So, yeah, I don't really care. I'd rather have Max, but I like both quite a bit. We're trying to get to 106,000 subscribers here on Chicago Bears Now. Help us get there. Just crossed 105. Next milestone's 106. We're trying to take down the Commanders Report and new subs this week. Let's make sure that happens here on Bears Now. Aaron Wolf, with the division as good as it's probably one of the best historic divisions of all time, how many real pieces realistically are the Bears away from taking the division? For this year? I don't know. 2, 3. It does feel like Detroit is a notch above you. And that's okay. Detroit looks like a real Super Bowl contender. Now, could Hutchinson's injury hold them back? Absolutely. Let's see how the next few weeks play out. But, I don't think the gap between you and Green Bay is that significant. I know Minnesota's come out firing, but I think you're at least in the ballpark of them. The one thing about Minnesota is they're so well coached. I like how the Bears are playing right now, and it seems like Waldron and Eberflus are turning a corner here, but we got to see more of it. I'd say you're still a few pieces away, but you might just be one big piece away from having a real shot, which is why I would consider it, especially if it was a controllable asset. Hunter Young, if Brian Daboll is available this offseason, I don't care what the record is, we need to hire him as OC or head coach. I mean, if the Bears make the playoffs and the Giants fire Daboll, I don't think they're going to fire Flus for Daboll. Now, if Shane Waldron wasn't here for whatever reason, you want to bring him as OC, sure. Or if this thing bottomed out and you blew it up, would I interview Brian Daboll as my head coach? Yes, but I don't think if the Bears win 10, 11 games and make the playoffs and the Giants bottom out that you would just dump Flus for Daboll, who I really like, but I just don't think that's a realistic scenario. But I am with you. I think Daboll can coach. I mean, you think about what he did 2 years ago. That team winning a playoff game is outrageous. Looking back at it, it really is. And he's stuck with Daniel Jones, who just can't play. He cannot play at all. But he'd get to work with Caleb Williams if he was here. That'd be pretty fun to watch. And if you want to get his jersey, you can. Chatsports.com/Caleb. Pick up a Caleb Williams jersey right now at chatsports.com/Caleb. Whites, navies, blue, oranges, all available. Pick them up today, chatsports.com/Caleb. DC Viper, and then we'll get to Caden's Super Chat, says, could the Bears trade with New York for Brian Burns? How much would it cost, first and a second? Could you get him for less? I just don't see a scenario where the Giants trade Burns. They just traded for him and paid him like 4 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever that was. I just don't think it's realistic. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Azeez Ojulari is an interesting name for the Giants. Could you convince them to trade Dexter Lawrence? I doubt it, but those would be names I'd be kind of sniffing around on more. Caden Goodvaldson, very few remember how we played Detroit last year. Yeah, should have swept them. First game, you're up 26-14 with 4.5 minutes left. Give up a quick score, 3 and out. They score again with less than a minute left. Complete collapse. And the second game, you kick their ass. So the Bears have matched up well against Detroit. I do think Detroit's even better offensively right now than they were last year. But, yeah, Chicago has matched up well with them. I don't think they'll be intimidated by playing them. And I do think the Bears will be able to score on Detroit. I do think that. They did last year, and their offense is better this year. So I think those could be some pretty entertaining games, if I'm being completely honest. All right, predict the score for this week. Bears Commanders in Washington. Who you got and what is the final score going to be? I took the Bears 28-24 if Jayden plays. If not, I'd probably say more like 28-17. But let me know what your score prediction is down below. John T., how are you / became a Bears fan if you're from Dallas? I've mentioned this before. Growing up, I always loved Devin Hester, so I played with the Bears a lot on Madden. But when I started at Chat Sports, the Bears were a team that was on our radar to launch a channel with, and bosses came to me like, hey, what about the Bears? I'm like, let's freaking do it. And it just kind of grew organically from there. So I'm a diehard fan now. Haven't been since birth, but that's where I'm at now. And it's been a blast, man. And I can't wait to see where this team goes. Depressed Bears fan, where would you rank the Bears among the entire NFC? Somewhere between, I'd say the ceiling right now is probably like 5. I'd say between like 5 and 8. I think they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. That's kind of where I feel like they are. I'd be surprised if they won the division this year, just given how tough it is. But I think they're a playoff caliber team that could get squeezed out because of how deep the NFC is. So hopefully they don't. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams that miss the playoffs in the NFC this year that feel like playoff teams because the depth of this conference is really strong right now. John Orticelli, Cullen and Harrison, could you please explain why the Bears are keeping Velus Jones? I'm serious. What role is he playing? He's been inactive since week 1. Whatever you can get for him, take it. Well, maybe you can't get anything for him, right? I know there was apparently a trade offer at the end of roster cuts, which we saw on Hard Knocks. Don't know what the offer was. Don't know who the team was. But when the only snaps you've taken this year, you muff a kickoff, and you've been inactive since, I can't imagine there's going to be a trade market. So I hear you. If a trade pops up, I would take it because you're clearly not interested in playing him. I'll be curious to see if they have him active after the bye week. Like maybe they look at this like, okay, we've given him basically 2 months. Do we just give him one last-ditch chance before the trade deadline? I don't know. I'm with you, John. Coming into training camp, I was not high on him. I didn't think he would make the team. He impressed. I thought he earned a roster spot, but then once again, when the games count, he shit the bed again. So he's just not a player you could trust. And it's unfortunate because he's electric with the ball in his hands. The problem is he does not catch the football. Angry Bears fan, do you think Javon Dexter has solved the 3-technique void, or should they still try and get someone else? I think he's clearly a starter, right? Like, now whether or not he's an all-pro, I think he's got ways to go there, but I think you don't need to add a high-level 3-tech. Now, I don't know if some guy unforeseen became available there and you wanted to add a piece, sure, but I don't think you need to be searching for a 3-tech. Now, like, Dexter Lawrence is like a 1-tech who can play like a 3-tech, so if somehow he became available and you got him, I think you would just line him up next to Dexter and you would rotate Billings in. But, yeah, I'm happy where Dexter is at right now, and I feel like year one we saw flashes. Year two, you're seeing more production. Next year, if he continues this kind of organic growth, he could be a high-level player. Jacob, any news on Tyson Bagent trade rumors? I haven't seen anything. I would be shocked if he were to get traded just because he's one of the best luxuries in the NFL. A quality backup quarterback that knows his role, is not trying to, be your starter, and he's cheap as hell. I mean, that's what you want out of your backup. No drama, solid, cheap. He checks all those boxes. Mike Nintendo Master, will the Bears beat the Packers once this season? Producer Colin thinks both. They're
getting both.
You hear the man. I predicted they would split. I feel like a sucker because they haven't beaten them since 2018, so it's kind of you need to see it to believe it. But I think the teams are pretty close in terms of talent and caliber. They should at least split. And it sounds sad, but I would sign up for a split right now because it's been such one-sided for the last several years. All right, thank you so much for all of your questions. I see your super chat, Caden. He says, you're part of the Bears family now, Harrison FGB. Shout out to Caden, FGB in the chat. At HGram NFL on Twitter and Instagram is where you can find me if you got more questions. Got to catch up on some DMs after my trip to the Windy City, but we will do that and get back to you guys. So hit me up over there. Shout out to you, Caden.
Get that up there, man.
So Cullen is a Seahawks fan.
I am.
I think I've converted him into the Bears being his second team. I don't know. I'll leave that to you, Cullen, in terms of if that's true or not. But that's been the goal. That's been the goal.
The Bears are a cool team.
They're fun to watch right now.
You
got in at a good time.
Yeah, I did get in at a good time. I don't want to claim that because again, you're getting a franchise quarterback who we all know, or most of us at least knew was going to be good. And listen, I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed the Bears Now crew that have welcomed me in, and I love doing this. And also, it's every team that's going up against FGB. It will always be every team going up against FGB. So,
Campbell, I can assure you this: that is not the case. I will get my wife on this show and ask her if I'm a Cowboys fan.
Very true.
I cannot stand Jerry Jones. Now, my dad was a huge fan, and growing up, that was the team I supported because I was born into it. And I want to make this clear, too. I ditched that fandom before I became a Bears fan. I just didn't have a team for a few years because I could not stand the Cowboys anymore.
Yeah.
That's just me being real.
Growing up,
it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, same thing. I was born in Dallas, born and raised. I was born and raised all Dallas sports teams before I changed over. So I mean, it is what it is.
And I don't think people question my fandom, but if you want to question my Bears fandom, go watch some of my post-game videos 2 years ago from the 3-14 team. I don't think you can fake that frustration and enthusiasm. It'd be cool to be an actor. I mean, actors make a lot of money, but go watch the Washington post-game show from 2022. I mean, I about lost my fucking mind.
DC Viper, Bears vs. Commies 2022, epic reign.
And by the way, yeah, and you chose the Bears. Guys, I used to cover the Chiefs for Chat Sports. The Chiefs.
He did.
I could have easily just wrote that out. And look, I like watching the Chiefs. I've always been a Mahomes guy because I watched them at Texas Tech a lot. But, this is my team. How easy would that have been for me to just ride the Chiefs coattails forever. I mean,
that gravy train's looking pretty good right now.
So, I will defend my fandom on that.
I mean,
at the end of the day,
it's one of those things that like I've never personally understand it. It's like just because you were born into something doesn't mean you have to root for the hometown team that you grew up with.
No, I'll give you another example. I grew up a Texas Longhorns fan. Dad played football at Texas. I went to TCU. My fandom switched because of the college I went to. So,
if you're born in Wyoming, are you just not allowed to root for sports teams?
Yeah.
Are you just not allowed to root for professional sports teams?
You grew up in Idaho, you're shit out of luck.
SOL, man. It's like, and again,
TCU, Josh. That's my college team.
I think the term bandwagon gets thrown around a lot. And if you're truly like, the Chiefs are on top right now, you're a Chiefs fan. If you were on the Patriots,
or if you're a Chiefs, Lakers, Yankees,
that kind of fan, 100%. But it's like, if you have a legitimate reason as to why you've been a fan and you support them through thick and thin, I don't have a problem with it personally. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. But
we've got breaking NFL news.
Ooh.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling to
oh my God,
the Saints.
The Saints, of course.
He's going to save their season.
That is Jesus Christ.
Why would he sign there? I mean, they're terrible.
Because Kansas City wouldn't take him, and I don't know how many calls he was getting, if I'm being honest.
Shengun just got a bag. 5 for 185.
Green also got paid, too.
He did like a weird, like a 2+1 I saw.
Let's see. We got a couple supers rolling in. Predict the score, by the way, in the comments.
Yeah, get those score predictions in. Paleo, did the Packers win over the Texans concern you a bit? I mean, not really. I think if you're asking that from a standpoint of the Texans controlled the Bears pretty good, well, for one, that was in Houston. This game was in Lambeau. And two, I think if the Bears had another crack at Houston, they'd have a better shot. Like, clearly the offense was still working out the kinks. I mean, that's pretty obvious. How much have I talked about the last few weeks of the schedule? When you play teams matters. Like, the Texans caught the Bears at a good time. Second career start for a rookie quarterback at home in prime time. The Bears caught the Rams at a great time. They caught the Jags in London at a great time. So, like, it's, if you played the Texans this week, I think you'd have a much better shot. But that's the reality of the NFL.
Ooh. Mavericks news. Jaden Hardy, 3-year, $18 million deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought that would be Quentin Grimes. So Jaden Hardy's going to be here beyond this year. All right.
Yeah. And, I mean, to add to your point, context is one of those things that sometimes as sports fans we tend to forget. It's a real thing, man. Like, it's... Yeah,
it's like if Jayden Daniels is out this week, you caught the Commanders at an incredible time. Off your bye week without their starting quarterback. Like, that's... It's just lucky. I mean, sometimes you get lucky. So, it is what it is. Hector says, I used to have the retro Cowboys cheerleaders poster. Bears need to bring back the Honey Bears. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny, Hector. Appreciate you tuning in.
Mother trucker. All right, keep putting those score predictions in. I got to load new links.
Oh, you're good. Get those score predictions in. Kirk says 41-29. That'd be pretty entertaining. Oh, DC, this is a good one, Cullen.
Oh.
Which chat sports host has the best meltdowns?
You give an answer first. I got to load this link in.
I think currently and in recent times it's been Marshall Green, our Giants host.
Yes.
I think I've had a couple of our better ones, but I think the volume of ones he has are just like, if you're bored on a Sunday and the Giants are losing, go turn on the Giants stream. I mean, he puts on a clinic in meltdowns. I'd say he's up there. Who else is up there?
Mitch, but that one's just kind of like...
Yeah, it's just the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You know what? The Raiders are just like a worse version of like what the Bears have been. Like, just dysfunctional.
Yeah, just like Marshall's
just the same
easily
story.
Up there. I will say, by the way, our Vikings host, which again... I understand if you don't watch our Vikings channel. I've never seen Seeps get that animated.
Was he pretty fired up yesterday?
I mean, he was cursing more than I've ever seen.
Wow. Cursing Seeps.
He doesn't like to curse. He doesn't like to drink. He was doing both of those at pre-X's this weekend.
Wow.
So I'll throw in Seeps' name. I will say Trace had one of the better.
Trace, our Saints guy, has some good ones.
Yeah. So
yeah,
there's just a couple of names.
I will say this. Downey, our Cowboys guy, He's had a couple of he had one when they got blown out by the Packers last year. He had a couple zingers that were pretty epic.
Yeah. I still haven't met, I've met Downey in passing and at the draft, but like that was like my first time actually like seeing him like in the chat sports setting, and that one was electric.
Yeah.
I'm done with this ass.
Caesar, first time super. I'll do 5 for you. Appreciate it, Caesar. All right, we got Michael Ortman with the 10.
Yep.
He says center Josh Myers, who the Packers drafted in 2021, has never lived up to the promise. Do you think Poles would give it a chance? I guess free agency next year, or are you talking about in a trade? I don't think they would trade him to the Bears, but I don't know. I'd have to kind of go back and analyze how he's played. But I guess real quick, I'll just look at his PFF grades this year. Yeah. Josh Myers, he's kind of just, to your point, I think been kind of an average player. Yeah. This year, his pass blocking's been good, but not run blocking. Last year, below average. He's kind of just been like, I would put in like the serviceable star. He's probably like in the Coleman Shelton tier. Like, he's a top 32 guy, but I'm looking for at least a top 15 guy.
Yeah. Good. More NBA news. Jalen Johnson of the Hawks, 5 years, 150.
Well, so today's the deadline for those extension guys. Yeah.
So it's a lot of NBA news. But
Poke, Ghostly, Jayden Daniels, small frame, will injuries pile up? It's hard to say. I mean, we don't know for sure. It was a concern of mine coming in. He took some massive hits at LSU. And you couldn't question his toughness. He rarely missed time, but this is the NFL, man. You got 250-pound linebackers running 4.4s trying to take your head off. So, I think it's a concern. I think it is. And by the way, the hit he took with the rib injury was kind of just a normal tackle. So, if he's getting hurt on that, that's got to be at least a little concerning.
It was the Giants, right, where he left the game with a similar injury. Even that one was kind of like a routine, he should have gone down beforehand, but he got kind of just side-checked, and he kind of had to step out of the game. Like, this isn't college. Like, these are grown men.
Yep. Who are paid millions to – when they're allowed to hit the quarterback, they will hit you. Yeah. They are going to take advantage.
They spend all offseason not being able to hit the way they want to. They will take their free shots.
Yep.
Let's look
at
this.
Caden Goodvaldson. He says, lost internet for a bit. I don't know how anyone can question the passion. Harrison has been there thick and thin. Yeah, I don't think many do, to be fair. But I appreciate it, Caden. Appreciate your endorsement. And hopefully the Bears are turning a corner here and we can have some epic positive rants. Last few weeks have been fun. Let's go win another game. All right, one more segment to go, and then we are getting out of here on a Monday. Trade deadline 2 weeks away, 2 weeks from tomorrow, so let's talk a little trade targets. On Chicago Bears Now, we're going to explore some Bears trade targets, but we're going to do it in a little bit of a different fashion. Instead of just going through like 5 players across the league, etc., I'm going to take a look at 5 teams that I think are already in sell mode and take a look at 1 to 3 players, and in one case, 6 players, on those teams that I could see the Bears potentially trading for. Before we do that, share this video. All you got to do is click the share icon, which should be right next to the video on your device. It's a little kind of share button. Select X, used to be Twitter, X. I think it's shifted to X on the app as well. And then post the video. If you tag me in that post at HGramNFL, I will give you a retweet. So click share, select X, and before you post the video, tag me in it, and I will retweet you guys on social media. Okay, potential trade deadline sellers. First, the Cleveland Browns. Watson's out for the year. They just have not lived up to the billing. They've actually got quite a few players I would have some interest in. And I think that they would be willing to potentially trade to certain teams. Now, whether or not they're willing to trade Myles Garrett, I'm not sure. Clearly, he would garner a lot of interest, and there was already a report out there that teams have been fishing around for him. I would imagine the price is sky high for him. Zadarius Smith, he's garnering interest. He'd probably be a middle-round pick. Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, probably day 3 picks. Wyatt Teller, who we talked about at guard, depending on how Matt Pryor plays the next couple of weeks, could he be an option to plug and play at right guard? And then Jack Conklin, who's kind of just a right tackle, doesn't really play left, so I'm not sure he'd be a fit for the Bears given Darnell Wright being your right tackle, but he'd be another player that could be on the move as well. Look, if Garrett's available, obviously I would have interest, but he would cost a ton given his contract structure. I kind of like the idea of buying cheap for Shelby Harris or Dalvin Tomlinson. Shelby would cost maybe a 6th, 7th round pick. He's your third defensive tackle, plug and play in the rotation behind Dexter and Billings. So that would be a guy I would look at from Cleveland. All right, let's look at the Las Vegas Raiders now. They're 2-5. They're just a mess. Gardner Minshew's back in the lineup after Aiden O'Connell got hurt. He doesn't look very interested. They're not going to win many games. Two guys I'm looking at. Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson. Would they be willing to trade Max Crosby? I think they should. I think they should just commit to a rebuild. Whether or not they're willing to trade their best player remains to be seen. Tyree Wilson was a guy in the offseason that was garnering some trade buzz, but they ended up keeping him. Not sure if they would still be willing to move him, but man, I would consider a big swing on Crosby if he was made available, because there's a lot of parallels to when they traded for Khalil Mack from the Raiders as well, because they thought they had the guy Mitch Trubisky. The difference is even though it's only been 6 games, I have way more confidence that the Bears do have the guy in Caleb Williams. And when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal that you believe in and that you believe you can win with, that's when you strike. That's when you are aggressive with big money moves. And Max Crosby would be a big money move, but not unreasonable in terms of cap hit that would just transform your defense from a top 5, top 7 unit to maybe the best in the league. Like, he's that good of a player. So I'd be very interested. Tyree Wilson, I mean, I'd throw like a 4th or 5th at him, but he went top 10 last year. I doubt the Raiders would take that right now. All right, more trade targets and teams to discuss coming up on Chicago Bears now, but do have to show some love to Prize Picks first. Basketball is back, and perfect time to launch some basketball Prize Picks lineups at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play for just $5. You can cross over your sports with your picks. All you do is select 2 or more players and pick more or less on the Prize Picks stat projections that are offered, and you are good to go. Prize Picks is offering a special right now on Anthony Edwards, more than half a point for their season opener on Tuesday, and then got to get a little Bulls action in there. Zach LaVine more on his points and rebounds. Just play for $5. You get a $50 bonus if you are a new customer. Just use code CLNS to get started today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's Prize Picks. Link and promo code in the description and comments of this video. All right, the New England Patriots, who I don't have much interest in any of their players. I was obviously interested in Matt Judon before the season, but he ended up going to Atlanta. Josh Uche, I'd show small interest in. Be a late-round pick. He's on a 1-year deal, so it would be a rental situation. But, like, is he better than Darrell Taylor? I doubt it. Like, even if you thought he was better than Austin Booker, Booker's in year 1 of a 4-year deal, so this would probably be more of if you suffered an injury at edge and just needed some depth. He's a fine player, but he's not special. So the Patriots in general don't have pieces I'm that interested in. I like Godchow, the defensive tackle, but they just extended him, so I think that's pretty unlikely. All right, we will cover all of the Bears trade rumors and buzz leading up to the trade deadline, of course. Any move that happens we'll cover as well. We will be live on trade deadline day, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us for that. And all of our coverage between now and then, not just trade rumors, but daily shows, news, injury updates, game previews, live watch parties, and a whole lot more. We do it all here at Bears Now. Next up is the New York Giants, and let's be honest, they're going nowhere, and they're going nowhere fast. And they got 2 players I'm pretty intrigued with. Dexter Lawrence, who this would be a home run type of swing, just like Max Crosby, just like Myles Garrett. I'm not sure the Giants would do it. He's got 9 sacks. I mean, you could make an argument he's the best interior guy. I'd still probably take Chris Jones over him, but he'd be the only one. Azeez Ojulari, he would be a rental, final year of his rookie deal, so would you give him an extension? Maybe. He's been pretty good this year. Good speed rusher. Listen, I would do a lot to get Dexter Lawrence. I mean, if you put him next to Dexter with Billings as your third guy, I mean, that is and you'd have some snaps with Billings and Lawrence on the field together. Just the beefiness of that interior. good luck running on this team in that case. But assuming he's not available, because that'd be a pretty tough pill to swallow for Giants fans, Ojulari would be a pretty good speed rusher addition. Like, I like him more than a Josh Uche. Pretty young. When he's been healthy, he's been productive. And with the Giants already trading and paying for Brian Burns, they have Kayvon Thibodeau. He might be a guy they might just let walk. So if you could get him for a day 3 pick and keep him beyond this year to be like your third pass rusher, I would have interest. Okay, New Orleans Saints, last one here. There are a couple other teams as well to monitor, Jags being one of them, Cardinals, depending on how they play the next couple of weeks. But the Saints have a few interesting pieces. Defensive lineman here. Chase Young. Could the Chase Young trade rumors be back, baby? Perhaps. He's just been okay this year. I'm not that in on him. Peyton Turner. He's a good depth pass rusher. Colin Saunders, who's been a little nicked up this year, but I think is like a number 3 defensive tackle. He's pretty good. Had a good impact with the Chiefs for a few years. Has been good in New Orleans as well. I would probably pass on Chase Young. He doesn't play the run. His effort has been questioned at times. I just don't know if he's a fit for what the Bears are, which is like, physicality, limitless motor. Like he's a guy that takes plays off, so I'm not sure he would fit. But they do have a couple guys that are intriguing. All right, name a player you want the Bears to trade for. Just went through several on several different teams. If you had to pick one guy, who would that player be? Go ahead and let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we are going to continue to bring you the latest and greatest Bears news and rumors, trade buzz as well. Trade deadline just 2 weeks away. Lock us in here at Chicago Bears Now. Tyreek Hill. That'd be fun.
That'd be electric. They get some supers, so hopefully they load.
Quentin Nelson, it's an interesting one. Colts are 4-3. I think they're going to at least try. I'll say this. Anthony, it's a shame the Bears lost again. It's another example. If they could play the Colts again, they would beat the Colts. If Richardson starts.
I'm still
with
shocked
Flacco, maybe it'd be different, but
I'm still shocked they won this past Sunday. He was 10 of 24.
He was awful. I mean, he was terrible. And I get why they're playing him. Like, if you go to Joe Flacco, it's like, okay, are you gonna try and roll him out in year 3 next year? Like, it's a tough one. Like, once you make that move, it's hard to go back. But if they were serious about trying to win this year, they would play Flacco.
100%.
They would play Flacco. Tyler Harrison, I think you're a sleeper edge rusher. You calling out my figure here, or do you actually think I can get after the quarterback? You don't want me. I would get hit once, and I'd be like, holy shit, these guys are powerful. Yeah, you don't want me out there. I think this is a better role for me, just talking about what's happening in these games. Carmen, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shout out to Carmen. Appreciate the first time super chat.
That was a special request for some jump jacks. So.
Shout out to you. All right, busy week, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Jayden Daniels' watch.
Yeah.
Big game coming up.
Time to get my Commanders notifications turned on.
Yeah, for real. Got to stay on top of that. We will continue to provide updates on that. The first official injury reports of the week will be on Wednesday, so stay tuned. We'll see what content we put on the channel tomorrow, but we'll have something. News always drops. Who knows? Maybe the Bears make a trade. If they do, we will be going live. My name is Harrison Graham. Shout out to Cullen for producing. Big week ahead. Bear down. We will see you guys soon here on Chicago. Wait, did we just get... my chat's being weird. All right, we're out of here. Bears Now. Peace.